Hello, a little YouTube exclusive bonus. A few people have been asking, could you react? Maybe because they knew it wasn't very good. Could you react to your League One predictions? Now, if anyone remembers, at the beginning of the season, we thought we had the bright idea to predict 1 through 24. Who do we think would finish where? Obviously, we both had Birmingham at the top. That's not a spoiler for what is to come. And you probably don't remember where we predicted Wrexham would finish, or where we predicted Shrewsbury would finish, or Birmingham. You know where Birmingham was. But I thought me and Rich could just go through and see how we got on. And also, the way we're doing it, for a little bit of competition between us, for every place you are wrong, for every place away you are from the actual table, you get a point. And so, for anyone who's a big fan of the show, Pointless, you want your score to be as low as possible. So, for example, Birmingham finished first. We both had Birmingham to finish first. We got 0, and so on and so on. So, if a team finished 10th, we had them second. You get 8 points. You get the idea of the game. Rich, before we pull up the table, how are you feeling? Confident, nervous, or not?
Awful, mate.
Awful.
No, it's one of those where it's so hard to hindsight's
It-
wonderful, isn't it? And that's the beauty of all sport, and that's the whole point of prediction. We're trying to predict something that's not happened, so of course it's going to be wrong. That's kind of the tendency of it all. Some of these we got spectacularly wrong. Must have just been vibes on the day. I must have hastily put together my list, but
Vibes.
I'm very happy to be proven wrong about where I put one team. Let's tease it at that.
Rob Ryan Red.
So, if you want to start at the top, I guess we already teased, haven't we, who we both had as first choice in League One this season.
Yes, look, people can see the table. We're just going to go through and sort of defend it. So we had Birmingham as our first choice. I think that was obvious. I think every prediction was coming in saying Birmingham will finish in top.
I'd love to see predictions of people who didn't have Birmingham as number one.
That's got to just be someone trying to be a hipster. That's just trying too hard to be different.
Not us.
Birmingham, what?
Not even
Birmingham. Not even we did that. So if we didn't do it, there's no reason for you to do that. We knew Birmingham would finish top. They did. Congratulations. And that is where the good news for our predictions ends, Rich, to be honest, because second, we both went for, at the time, relegated Rotherham United, who we were getting very giddy about them signing all these kind of older players on free transfers.
Sounds a bit like us, that.
Rotherham, where did they end up even finishing? Was it even top half? I don't think it was it? They finished 13th.
Oh, was it?
13th overall. And we had them second. So not a great one there for us. So what is that?
11 points off we were each.
Good. So strong start.
And 0 points for Birmingham, 11 for Rotherham.
The playoffs don't even get much better. I had in my playoffs Peterborough, Bolton, Charlton, Huddersfield. I went 1 for 4 in the playoffs. You went Bolton, Charlton, Huddersfield, Lincoln. You also went 1 for 4.
If anyone watched our last couple of podcasts, they know I love Lincoln City. Interesting fact for you, though, Nath. Not too much of a spoiler. Your guess for Peterborough was the worst of any of our guesses for places. You were 15 points away from where they actually finished, and that is the worst of any of our predictions.
Thank you for that. Very kind. I actually, I am surprised with how Peterborough, why it didn't work for them, because you look at it and go, okay, they have moved players on all the time. When we played them there, I was surprised by kind of how easy it was for us. We played really well that day. Let's not get it twisted. They go on and win the EFL Trophy and or whatever that's called, the Papa John's or the Checker Trade or what actually is it called? The
Virtue Trophy.
Virtue Trophy. Thank you so much. The Virtue Trophy. They went and won that. Came from behind.
We will always call it the Papa John's. Not that we're in it anymore, which is also very therapeutic to say.
The Virtue Trophy. And I don't know. I just sort of think with players like Cipriano, I know who's leaving, captain, Poku, Mothersill was one of the better players in the second half of the season. They just had a lot of good players that massively underperformed. So I'm not trying to completely gloss over my prediction, but they were one of my biggest surprises of the season, that they were that poor.
Yeah, maybe they're
And
one
we're
of those
looking to
teams
go
of
down.
individuals rather than an actual team that sort of gels properly. And again, we've seen this when we get onto our Wrexham predictions, what having that camaraderie and team spirit can do to get a team over the line. So yeah, maybe Peterborough were guilty of that.
And I
On my
slagged them off all
Lincoln
season,
shout,
Rich.
yeah.
I slagged them off all season, but Bolton, I still had them in the playoffs, and I should have just not. I shouldn't have doubted myself at the beginning. I got swayed by. I mean, you had Bolton as well, finishing high.
Mm.
They're another one of those clubs that every year they're in League One will always be in the playoffs or above in the prediction because they're a massive club. So I don't know why it went wrong for them because again,
Bad manager,
great
maybe.
players, bad manager in Ian Evatt. Yeah,
And the
maybe.
team
So
turned a corner a little bit, didn't they, under Schumacher? They were quite good those first few weeks under him. So maybe for that next season, not that we care because we're not here, but they might generally get their act together.
Huddersfield again. We both had Huddersfield in there. They were one of the poorest sides I saw in the second half of the campaign. Just looked like they completely
imploded, though, didn't they? Because January
they imploded,
it felt like it was between us and them for second place.
Right, that was amazing when you think back, and we saw them get Taylor, and we saw them get Dion Charles, and we were panicking about who we were going to get, and yeah, they completely imploded their season. So the only one we actually got right was Charlton. Did you get that spot on in fourth?
Yeah,
Did I get that spot
interesting
on?
fact, on there. We both got 4 teams spot on.
Ooh,
in our prediction.
Nice. Okay, nice. Well,
so we both got Birmingham. I got Charlton as my second spot on too.
So where am I? So in the top 2 in the playoffs, we both got 11 for Rotherham. I'm probably losing by a landslide at the minute, right?
Yeah, but we'll get
back.
to the end. We'll get to the end. Yeah. So mid-table teams. I guess the teams that missed out on the playoffs now.
7 to 10. I had Barnsley, Stockport, Wrexham in 9th, Blackpool in 10th. So remind me how
you're not too
bad
off
was
on
that, Rich?
Those. Like I said, Blackpool only 1 place off. I suppose like we said, the elephant in the room though is we both predicted Wrexham to finish outside the playoffs.
9th, yeah.
And I think we both used the logic, did we? I'm not sure if you did, but I used the logic. Well, Stockport were better last season and had a better summer transfer window than we had done. So I presume they'd finished above us. But it's a funny old game, isn't it?
It is. And Barnsley, again, they had a weird situation with the manager, and I think the ones above us that sort of went wrong, maybe not so Lincoln in your case, but Huddersfield, Bolton.
Managerial changes at all, yeah.
Managerial changes, and I think that's why Parky was so good for us. Consistency, one voice, one dressing room.
I think the other point as well, Nate, that we need to make on that is you can have a really talented squad, but if you're not sort of cohesive off the pitch as well, it can really derail your season. I think that's what Wrexham have, which is often taken for granted, is we not only have a very good team, but we've basically got the best-in-class backroom staff and hierarchy of the club, where there's a lot of people who are just very, very, maybe probably overqualified for the roles they're in at League One level. So I think that's a key factor that's often forgot about when you sort of evaluate Wrexham Football Club.
So look, people can see the tables, they can see where we had predictions, and they'll notice some obvious mistakes, errors. Rich. That glaring errors. I'm going to pick out a couple on each of our side. Leyton Orient, I had them finishing 15th. You had them finishing 16th. And actually, I think they were probably on their day, one of the best footballing sides in the division, I thought, under Richie Wellens, and he was deservedly up for Manager of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at my sort of trio here of teams I got horribly wrong, Wycombe I was 10 places off, Leyton Orient I was 10 places off, Reading I was 11 places off. I think Reading particularly have been, if they'd got the playoffs, there would have been an argument that they had been sort of the story of the season in League One, given everything that's happened off the pitch. They just missed out on the final day, but it doesn't take anything away from what a fantastic sort of team effort's gone on there for them to be in contention. And they absolutely just, I'm not even going to say that's our worst performance, but they schooled us at the Majewski, didn't they? They did a job on us.
Massively. They schooled us. That's the only way you can put it. They taught us a lesson that night. Yeah, they did.
A job on us. The other one, kind of like you said, Rotherham, we were hopelessly well off on. But
Peterborough was terrible for me. Bristol Rovers for you, no? Or for both of us, really.
Yeah, Bristol Rovers. So I was 8 off on them. You were 5 off on them. A lot of it was just vibes and guesswork for me at that point. I think from both our point of view, the weird thing about the mid-table is it's kind of, I say it is, hindsight proves it's not, but you can, in your mind, you can sort of get your top 10 quite easy, and you can get to the bottom 6 quite easy. and you just don't really know who's going where else in the middle of that.
No, and our championship predictions will no doubt come similar. But I will say, because we'll get towards the end, it's just keeping a short, snappy video, is that bar one cock up going for Mansfield, who at one time did look like they were in a bit of bother under Nigel Clough, and I think we had Craig on Mansfield Matters, and he was saying, look, if we don't beat Burt, we're potentially in trouble here. So they were in and around it, but they didn't go
when
down.
we played them away from home, we should have won that game more comfortably. I swear they had like 6 or 7 players out injured, didn't they? When Andy Cannon got injured as well that day, didn't they? But
yeah, they were really struggling.
I feel like that's maybe a key factor why they've not. But they're one of the teams I got spot on, so I'm not complaining too much.
17th, yeah. So you're right. So look, we had Shrewsbury going down, we had Cambridge going down, we had Crawley going down, and you were almost right, Rich, in having Burton going down. They just about survived. Credit to them. But overall, I mean, have you tallied up the score? I must have beaten you there, surely, even with my Peterborough honker.
So yeah, if you look at it, like I said, Peterborough's the worst by a mile, 15 points. But if you look at the amount of guesses we got wrong in double figures, you only got 2 teams double figure wrong, which were Rotherham and Peterborough. I got Rotherham wrong, Reading, Orient, and Wickham wrong. So that's 4 there. Like I said, we both got 4 spot on. So as we said, 0 points if you were correct, and then 1 point for each place you were away from where they finished. It's quite convoluted, but hopefully you've understood. So the lower score, the better. Nathan Salt, you were cumulatively 106 places away.
Oh, 106. That seems insanely high. So I now know your score is going to be very high, which is good.
It's actually closer than you think. I was 114. So only 8 places worse off than you.
Fair enough. So we've basically both done a terrible job of predicting League One.
Turns
thankfully.
out, 2 clueless podcasters are clueless podcasters. So hopefully no one pays us to be football journalists in our day job, because we have got no idea. But that's the fun of it. And that, again, I think does highlight, like I said, I think the bottom 4 and the team that won the league were very obvious. But what an interesting season of League One it was, because there were so many surprise stories. So many teams we thought would do well, didn't. So many teams we thought would struggle, did really well. And that one plucky team from North Wales, who everyone now says spent their way to the Championship, nobody really backed them to actually do it in the first place. So what a season it's been. I know, and before you say this, yes, I know that the 2 Aussies said we'd finish second. Well done to you. You know better than us. But most Wrexham fans weren't expecting another promotion. And hey, that's what we did. So these championship predictions will be very interesting. We're about to start scouring the transfer market and the squad lists, and getting our. I was about to say, Nave, should we have a very, very, very early Wrexham prediction for next season to end the podcast on?
Oh, because we are going to do our full championship predictions on the eve of the season when we'll know transfers and stuff. I'm going to say a top 10 finish.
Yeah, I'm going Wrexham top half finish. I'm going to buy myself 2 more than you.
Okay, nice. Okay,
we'll see.
But yes, there you go. So that's our League One predictions. You know what? A lot more enjoyable than I thought, because the vibes were there. They were off, but they were there. The vibes. And Peterborough United showing that I don't know the first thing when I'm coming to predictions, and also the beauty of anything can happen. So if that doesn't give you hope that we might predict Wrexham, what did the Optus supercomputer have Wrexham like 20th and then finish second? So we'll continue writing off Wrexham, I'm sure, and they'll continue proving us wrong. And other teams who we think are the bee's knees will prove to be complete bluffers. So that is the fun of it. Remember to subscribe on YouTube. Lots of people have subscribed lately. Very, very kind. Really appreciate it. Leave your comments. And if you want to get involved and you also want to do a kind of prediction, maybe we'll find a way to collate yours next season, and you can keep tabs on how yours got on. But if you did your own predictions, let us know.
Very early now in the comments, where will Wrexham finish in the Championship next season?
Yeah.
Go bold. Yeah. Just put it out there. Hey, it's an amnesty. Whatever happens, we won't remember this. And like I said, we'll do a more comprehensive preview on the end of the season once we actually know what's going on. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, remember, subscribe on the video. We will try and do... There's a lot of people that we're trying to placate. I will say very quickly that some people like shorter form content, some people like longer form content. We are still going to do our regular show on a Thursday. There'll be a lot more talking points. We have got a big transfer special coming up. But if you are after some shorter videos, give us some ideas for maybe 10, 15-minute talking points that you think will make separate videos, and we might be able to space those out through the week. So, yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Don't make too much fun of us for our League One predictions, and we will catch you very, very soon.
The Wrexham AFC podcast with Nathan Salt and Rich Faye.